that if I'm given an opportunity to be your voice in Washington, that I will co-author and I will do everything within my power to move forward Medicare for all. Because we're talking about the healthcare of all individuals. When it comes to incredible things that we have accomplished together, unlike any other state in the nation, lifting people from poverty, raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour, because no one who works full-time, should be forced to live in poverty in the wealthiest state, in the wealthiest nation in the world. Together, my friends, we also move forward what I believe is one of the most innovative financial products in the history of this nation. In fact, it will be the largest expansion of retirement security since the establishment of Social Security. And that is my Senate Bill 1234, the California Secure Choice Act, which means that any Californian who does not have access to a traditional defined benefit pension plan, which I strongly support, or a defined contribution 401k plan at their place of employment will automatically be enrolled in the California Secure Choice Act later this year.
Who's going to pay for it?
It's an opt-out provision, which means everyone's automatically enrolled with automatic payroll deduction. Now, the reason why I moved this measure forward is because of our senior citizens in California who live in poverty today. 2/3 of them are women. And I think it's immoral that women who brought us into this world, women who clothed us, who fed us, who raised us, retire into poverty when their arms, their shoulders, their waists, their backs physically give out. Again, that's immoral. Everyone should have access to dignity and respect when they retire. And this is a retirement tsunami that's on the horizon that impacts all Americans, not just those on the left or those on the right and those in points in between, but it impacts everybody, whether you live in San Bernardino, whether you live in Hemet or Riverside, whether you live in Central Valley or here in Santa Monica. This is a real policy issue that impacts so many Californians. Folks like my aunt, who worked her fingers to the bone, was a housekeeper the vast majority of her life. Also, too, she cleaned homes and she was a waitress as well. And she took care of the wealthy. This is a woman who survives on a monthly basis on her Social Security check. And we know that's not enough to pay for the rent, to pay for her medications, and to pay for her food. So I'm, as her nephew, but because she's my second mother, and she helped raise me, and I have to honor her, I'm her 401k plan. I'm her Roth IRA. I'm her IRA, traditional pension plan, by giving her a check on a monthly basis. Again, how is it possible when this woman never asked this country, this government, for a single penny at the state, federal level, but yet she lives in poverty today as a senior citizen who's worked all of her life? And that's why we have to move positive, proactive solutions that, again, impact everybody and have an impact on everybody. So whether you voted for a Trump supporter, and that is your prerogative, I respect that.
No, you don't.
But if you did so,
Liar.
you also benefit. You also benefit from the policies that we move forward that raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour.
No, we don't.
That provide retirement security for all individuals, as well as the ability to breathe.
Everything costs more, and people are losing jobs.
And on the issue with regards to climate change, which is the existential threat to humanity as we know today, to our economy as we know today, California has moved forward the most far-reaching climate change policies, not in the region, not in the nation, but in fact the entire world.
And that's why we have so much poverty.
Half of our electricity will be generated from renewable sources. Harnessing the power of the wind and sun. Because guess what?
It doesn't work.
The wind and sun, they're free. It doesn't cost
It's not
anything.
working.
So the
It actually costs even more.
My friends, is when we want to move renewable energy, we have 4 objectives here. So we're all clear and on the same page. When we want to move our renewable policies, one is we want to grow the economy.
It isn't
We
working.
want to create jobs as a result, and put people to work. 2, we have to deal head-on with the existential threat of climate change.
No, we don't.
3, we want to deal with all the carbon emissions that are atmospheric and all the other criteria pollutants, all that ugly smog that our children breathe into our lungs every single day. And lastly, we want a tax cut. And that tax cut is manifested by that bill that you open up on a monthly basis, that utility bill, that you're actually paying less to turn on the lights on, you're paying less to heat your room, you're paying less to cool your room, you're paying less to water your lawn, because it costs money to move water. It costs energy to move water. These are the progressive policies that are at the forefront of this nation and this world, because the world is watching very closely what we do here in California.
Yeah,
The
they
issue
sure
of
are.
climate, the issue of health care, the issue of retirement security, the issue of raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour, the issue, and I had a wonderful conversation with Mitch, maybe about an hour ago, over at the church, over at the West LA Democratic Club.
No, he didn't.
On the issue of homelessness, which is so acute here in Santa Monica, as well as Venice, as well as the epicenter of the homeless population, if not in the state, in the entire country, which is in my district, which is Skid Row. And this is a human issue.
And you're part of
It's
it.
not a Republican issue. It's not a Democratic issue. It's an issue where we can all join in together, collectively, and do everything within our power to stop this. Now, I got a measure, Mitch, that's called No Place Like Home. You may have heard of it. It passed just last year. We're going to invest not $2 million, not $20 million, not $200 million. We're going to invest $2 billion statewide in California to build housing for our homeless population with chronically mental illnesses.
What?
That is a huge.
Where will you get the money? Who's going to pay for it? Mexico?
And how it's paid for, I have a question. How's it paid for? I'm not raising taxes. I'm not raising personal income tax. I'm not raising property tax. I'm not raising sales
Baloney.
tax, parcel tax.
You already raised our gas
None of
tax.
that's being raised on each and every one of you. What I'm doing is I'm repurposing dollars from the millionaire's tax. We repurpose those dollars and we build housing. It's already law, so it's going to happen. So it's not a proposal. It's going to happen. It's coming down the pipeline. And the reason why this is so critical is, quite frankly, is you can't have folks sleeping on our doorsteps or outside the Santa Monica library. We have to give them a housing first policy. Then we provide them the wraparound services.
Who's going to pay for it?
Because it makes no sense, for example, and you can tell me if it makes sense. Say, for example, if you have a gentleman who, and I just witnessed it right now, someone who's doing something he wasn't supposed to be doing outside the library, and he's given a citation by our local police department, but he's schizophrenic, he's bipolar, he doesn't have an address, and fast forward 6 months, someone calls, whether it's the Santa Monica Police Department or whether it's the LAPD, and say he's jaywalking or he's sleeping on someone's doorstep or their business, which is not a good thing. But someone calls the police and they do a background check and they find out that this gentleman had what we call an FTA, a failure to appear from 6 months ago. And then they arrest him, and they book him, they fingerprint him, they photograph him, and they house him in a jail. And then you do the dollar amount and how much did that cost? That whole process, tens of thousands of dollars. Then you have the city attorney's office prosecute that individual. It's nonsensical. It's like taking cash and burning it. It makes no sense. That's why. So what we want to do is we want to make sure we provide the housing that's necessary. So you can Google it, look it up. No Place Like Home. This is for everybody. Black, white, Latino, Asian American, African American, racially